Now today I want us to talk about some interesting topic, and that is none other than buying land in Uganda. In this first episode, I could have like 2 or 3 episodes. In this first one, shall be talking about pricing of land in different areas. So I'll be discussing with you some of the issues, factors that determine land prices in different areas so that you do not make any mistakes that I'll be of course discussing in our second episode of this particular series when it comes to buying land in Uganda. But before we go into the pricing of land in Uganda, I'll also be talking about why you need to invest in land. So stick around and welcome to the Duke's Farm, where we talk everything farming. Once again, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Denis Duke Moniala. It's a very interesting topic, and I'm really honored to be delving straight into it. Now, in the recent past, I've had experience in land matters. I was recently involved in looking for land for farming, looking for land for residential, at least for me and for my different friends. And I must tell you that what I'm going to talk about is some of the findings that I got during that entire process. Now, before even going to the pricing of land in different areas in the country, I want to let you know that buying land is one of the best, if not the only best option. Very many people have come up with, you can invest in business and stuff like that. Let me tell you, investing in land is an absolute idea that can never go wrong. You can never go wrong with land, whether after a year or 2 years, or even if you bought land today at 50 million, you cannot sell it at 50 million tomorrow. Not at all. You'll definitely sell it at 55 or even more than that. And that shows to you that land appreciates every single minute. But you need to be very careful when investing in land. Don't just go there. First, make research. First, forward this video to your different friends, because some of those mistakes I think will be coming in the second episode. In this particular episode, we are talking about the pricing of land in different areas. Do not let anybody cheat you. That's why I'm actually doing this particular video, so that you get familiar with different pricing and what actually makes or factors those pricing. So for those of you who are outside the country, you can get in touch with me when you're here, or even when you need land. I can look out land for you and actually purchase it for you, because I am a trusted person. I've done this for different friends and they've been really amazing. So let's go into today's topic. Pricing of land in different areas. Now, prices of land in Uganda have shot high in the recent past. For those of you who were able to buy land at least 2 or 3 years ago, you can bear me witness with this. For example, land that was 5 million right now is at 35 or 40 million or even more. Now, those factors that have made land to go high are some of the things that I'm going to talk about, but also to give you the different pricing of land in different areas. Now, one of the things that determine land price in Uganda is the seller, the person selling the land, and brokers. Now, the person selling the land perhaps could have, an immediate challenge they want to solve. So they may not necessarily sell it at the value of that particular area. For example, somebody needs quick cash. Maybe a bank wants to take his property, so he would rather sell that plot of land and pay the bank and save himself from the bank taking out his property and perhaps losing a lot more than he would have lost if he sold the land. So he sells it at a fairly cheaper price because he has a problem. But in an incident where the seller is just selling his land, he has no pressure behind him. He will sell it at a slightly higher pricing. So that could also determine the prices of land in those different areas. Another thing is availability of different facilities, different infrastructures. Say, for example, construction of a new tarmac road, construction of water system, or a water supply system by the national water and Storage Corporation, but also availability of electricity in an area could also affect the pricing, either to go down or to go low. For example, in different areas like Katosi Road, the roads were bad, but after they built the road, the prices of land in those areas did shoot high, at least triple, if not double. That's what, according to what I've been able to realize. Now, there are a couple of other factors. Like I said, brokers can also affect the pricing of land. For example, certain brokers, if given a deal of selling land, they usually put it at a higher value, like they increase the money or the price because they want to get that difference and pocket it. Sometimes it is done by it's an agreement between the seller and the brokers. So the seller tells the broker, anything slightly away from my price, you take that. If you get it on my price, I'll give you a percentage of this. So usually the brokers can also affect the pricing of land in different areas. Now let's go into the pricing. Now pricing, I'll be looking at two things. One, for those who want land for farming, but also for those who want land for residential. For those who want land for farming, usually people that want to do farming want or require huge sums or big chunks of land, and within or in about 30 to 60 kilometer radius away from Kampala, I doubt you'll get land amounting to at least 5 acres. It's no longer there. People have subdivided these plots into residential areas. So many people have resorted to going into places like Mityana. They've resorted to going into places like Chichusa, that is in Luwero district. Places like Ntenjeru, that's on Katosi Road. Places like Kayunga, places like Zirobwe, where they are sure that they will get at least 3 or 4 acres or 5 or even 10 or 20 acres of land for farming. Now, I'll be talking about these places. For example, in Chichusa, land is still a bit low in terms of pricing because of different things, the remoteness, the unavailability of power, poor roads, among many other things. But in the near future, if those things are worked on, the prices are going to go high. At least for now, we are talking in acres. An acre of land in Chichusa could even go for 8, 6, 7 to around 12 million shillings an acre. So now you know the kind of range you're working within. The least that it could go for is 6 or 7. Between 6 and 7, like that's the lowest. And then the highest could go for 12. But also, like I said, some factors like availability of good roads next to power could also affect it to even go slightly to up to 15 million. So don't say Dennis Duke told us it's this. No, I'm not saying that's the actual price, but I'm giving you a range from within you can actually work around, or you can program your budget within. So that's for Chichusa. Zirobwe land is appreciating. It's appreciating every single day. Previously it was around 8 to 6 million. That's away from Zirobwe town, for example, Wabitungulu. But right now in Wabitungulu, near the trading center, you could even get land at 20 million shillings an acre. That's something very unique. But away from Wabitungulu, about 4 kilometers from the center, or even 5 kilometers, you could get land at 14 land at 12 million, even 8, or even 9, depending on some factors that I told you in the beginning. That's an acre of land. So, but surprisingly, it is very funny that those that are selling plots of land, for example, 50 by 100, 100 by, you realize they are selling almost the same monies like those that are selling acres. For example, within Luwero town, 50 by 100 is between 8 to 14 to 12 million within Zirobwe town. But away from Zirobwe town, it could even go for 7 million. But why would you invest in a plot of land that is 50 by 100 or even 6 million when you can get an acre at 12 million? Like, just doesn't make sense for those of you or for me. I'm going to talk of different land mistakes that people make in Uganda, but that will be in my second episode. But one of the things I was going to talk about, and I'll actually expound more in that video, is that many people buy land in Uganda without making prior research about prices of land in different areas. Now, the reason as to why we are making this particular video in regards to pricing of land in Uganda is because it is going to help people not to be cheated, you know. Because if you buy land in an area where land, for example, an acre in an area where land goes for about 10 million per acre and you sold 15 million per acre, it means after 2 years, where land in that area will have reached 15 million, you who has had land for this area, you'll want to sell it at 20, but unfortunately no one will be willing to buy because the area pricing will be at least known to very many people that it's at 15. But when you put it at 20, you'll find it you find a very rough time selling that land. Like anywhere else, when you buy, for example, in Mgongo right now, land is about 70 to 80 million. If you buy it at 120 million, 50 by 100, you will have a very difficult time in 2 years to sell that land. That's why I said land appreciates every day. But if you make a mistake and buy land expensively, it will appreciate, but it won't give you the profits. People will buy it at 120 that you bought it, even after 3 years, because that will be then the pricing of land within that area. That's why this video is very, very important, and you need to send it to different people so they can get to understand some of these things. So we're still talking about farming, land for farming. For example, we've talked about Zirowe, Chichusa, and that's within Luwoero. Let's go to Masaka or Mpiji or Mityana Road. Let's go to Mityana Road. Mityana Road, land is roughly between 8 to 12 million an acre, depending on the location, like I said. But that's away from Mityana Road, about 30 to 40 kilometers away from Kampala, capital city center. When you come to Masaka Road, the same, between 12, 14, 15 an acre. And Masaka Road, by Masaka Road, I mean that's after, I think, before you cross Rueda, within those areas, Greater Masaka, land is within those that particular pricing. But land on Masaka Road, not all Masaka Road, because Masaka Road includes Chengera, includes Nabingo, includes which area? There are so many areas there. But land on that, that's about 30 kilometers away from Kampala. It ranges between 45 to 60 million an acre. Yes. For those of you who are taking that Nansana Road around Kachiri, same price, 40, 30 an acre. And those in around Barara and Bale, land is still very cheap. An acre could go for 10 to 15 million. I'm giving you just a range of how they sell land in those areas. An acre. And by the way, put other factors in position as well, the ones that I discussed in the beginning. So also let's talk about Mukono side. When you're looking for an acre of land in Mukono, that's, let's say, Katosi Road, because within Mukono town, I doubt you'll get an acre of land for farming. So you'll need to go to, that is Katosi Road. Katosi Road land has really gone high since the construction of that Katosi Road. Now, land was previously around 12 to 25 million an acre. Right now, it has shot to 40, 45, if you're lucky enough, 38 million. But if you extend, it could even go to 35 in Tenjeru, Kokonjeru, Katosi itself. Now, in places like Namaiva, places like Chetume, places like Nachisunga, Chisoga, those are a bit closer to Mukono, so land is a bit expensive, between 45 million, 38, okay, 40 to around 50 million, roughly there. So you're in between there, you're working from within there. The same applies to Mukono Kayunga Road, the same pricing. Yeah, but Nakasongola, you can even, when you go to places like Nakasongola, you can get an acre at 3 million. When you go to Masindi, an acre at 3 or 4 million, and so many other things. But in some of these areas, land does not have a title. That's the difference with land within Chagwe. I don't know why Chagwe, but Chagwe for some reason is damn expensive. Like really, really, really expensive. Now, those are just a few pricing for those that are looking for land for farming. Now, let's talk about those that are looking for land for residentials. Many people, of course, looking for land for residentials would not want to go 80 kilometers away from capital Kampala, but I will still talk about even those that are away from Kampala. For those that are looking for land, for example, in Mukono, Kayunga Road, it could go for between 15 to 20 million, 50 by 100. Now I'm talking about 50 by 100, the starting residential land. On Katosi Road, it could go for 15 million roughly. But also it could go either high or low depending on some factors. When you go to Zirowe Road, 50 by 100 could go for 14 to 15 to 20 million, by the way. That's around Busika, Gayaza. That's around Gayaza. Gayaza's price is a bit different depending on how close it is to Gayaza town. It could even go for 40 million or even 50 million. And depending on different factors, but also there's land for 25 deep a little bit away from Gayaza town, but within the vicinity. Then you talk about places like Bugema. Bugema land is about 14 to 25, between 14 to 25 million. That's a 50 by 100, by the way. When you go to Zirowe town is about 14 to 15 as well. Many plots are ranging between 10 to 14, 15 million shillings for those of you who want to buy land here. Now, the rate for those of you who are not Ugandans, you can get this rate at, right now is at 3,600. Different banks have different dollar rates, but roughly 3,600 shillings a dollar. So now you know, you translate that into dollar and you get the kind of monies we are talking about. Let's talk about Namgongo first. Namgongo's land or 50 by 100 could go for even 80 million shillings, could go for 65, 75, depending on how close it is to the area. But the highest that it should go to is at least 80. 50 by 100, close to the road. Away from Namgongo town, you could even get it at 70, 75. Land has really gone high in these areas. When you come to Sonde, that's still Namgongo Road. Chariwajala land is a bit high. You could even get it at 100 million. Now around, there's some places by then in Kampala where you may not necessarily find land. For example, Ntinda, unless somebody has already a building and you just buy the building and the land and then you reconstruct. But within Ntinda, if you happen to get it, could even go for 200 million shillings. The same applies to Mutungo, around 250 by 100. We are talking about 50 by 100, by the way. 100 million, 150 million, 150 million shillings. That could go for land in Mutungo. But there are not so many land deals in those areas. When you come to Chiwatule, almost the same pricing as in Tinda. Now Chira, which recently was a bit low, has now gone high. Get land at 65, 75, but that also depends on how far it is from the road. If it is closer to the road or even on the main road, it could even go for 120 million or even 150 million shillings, Ugandan shillings. So when you come to Namgongo, I've told you Namgongo, Sonde. Sonde's land is about 65 to about 80, between 60 to 80, depending on who is selling. But 80 is way much, but around 60 to 70. Between there, that is within Sonde. When you go to Jogo, it's about 50 to 55 roughly. When you go away from Jogo to which areas, you're going to Kasai, I think, you could get land between 30 to 45 million shillings. When you go on that Seta road, that's from after Sonde, you could even get a plot at 40 million. 50 by 100, by the way. When you go to Mukono, land is between 14 to 15 million. That's 50 by 100. But within Mukono town, it could even go to 60, 65 million shillings. So at least you now get the different pricing of different areas. And that is it for today. Reach me out on dukesmedia12@gmail.com if you want or have any inquiries when it comes to land pricing in Uganda, and I'll be very, very much ready to help you out with that. So until then, look out for my next episode. So goodbye.